everyone, and welcome to Deep Dives with Dogs. Well, the day I'm recording this, it's April the 19th, and in 1775 on this day, the battles of Lexington and Concord happen, effectively starting the American War for Independence. Technically, there's more to it than that. When the North, or when these battles happen, a lot of people in the South kind of think like, well, we're not really part of this. This is a New England problem. It's kind of how they felt a lot of the things have been happening. I think a lot of this stuff's been New England's problem. Obviously, there are people in the South that do want this and do participate right away, but a lot of the sentiment in the South is, not really. The British do some things, though, down there, the British regulars, and kind of pisses off the South some, and that's kind of why they are like, okay, we'll go along with this. um, these battles, Lexington and Concord, um, they really kind of show that this war is not going to be very easy for the British, for the regulars. They they think, oh, we're going to walk in to these places where there had been reports of guns, and they were going to confiscate them. Everything's going to be fine. It's going to be nice, dandy. Maybe there'll be a little resistance, but it won't be too bad. We got British regulars going out. They're well trained. They got this. The soldiers march out there. We're not really sure who, but somebody during this altercation with the Minutemen, somebody fires, either it be from stress, an order that maybe they just heard someone yell fire. Who knows? Nobody really has a guaranteed understanding of this. But somebody shoots, and that kicks it all off. The the rolling down the hill that can't be stopped by anybody that leads to America's independence. These battles also kind of show, and the subsequent attacks on the British really show, this war is going to be a guerrilla war on the American side. The Americans are really good at using this guerrilla tactics, and they're effective. The British are one of, if not the most powerful military force in the world at this point, and you don't really have a great plan for dealing with them in a pitched battle. There's just not that many trained troops in America. There's just not that. There's not really much of the stuff that they need in certain cases. Mostly men, well-trained men, um, and so guerrilla tactics. You get people like hunters, you get these farmers, things like that. They know a lot of these areas, but like the back of their hand, they're able to jump out of these forests, attack the British, get back into them, disappear, and never be found. And that it really shows the effectiveness of these guerrilla tactics. Guerrilla tactics have always been useful. They will always be useful, especially from the standpoint of a weaker nation against a much stronger nation. Guerrilla tactics are just that much more useful. Um, and the Americans eventually do get some more professional help, and that's the real reason we win the war. But um, Lexington and Concord shouldn't be forgotten. They really show that the British can lose against these Americans. And yeah, we will need outside help to win, but it wasn't going to be just a walk in the park, neither. Um, Actually, at the battles of Lexington and Concord, the Americans suffer less losses. The British suffer about 270 or so. The Americans suffer about 95. So almost there's almost 3 times more losses on the British regular side than the American Minutemen side. And that's a pretty big deal. A lot of that comes from the kind of the attacks later, but also in the battles too. Um, the British super underestimated their enemy. They won't continue, but there are examples where they really underestimate the Americans, and it shows that like you can't do that. That's kind of maybe the thought they always had. They always underestimated the colonies, and so they never took a lot of their complaints that led to all this conflict very seriously. To some degree they did, but not fully. They always underestimated them. Oh, they'll never do this. Oh, they'll never do that. Oh, this will never happen. They'll never be able to do this. It happens with a lot of very strong nations. They think, oh, this smaller nation, or less powerful in this sense. The British Isles are much smaller than all the 13 colonies combined, but they probably just never thought that, oh, this less powerful nation, our little colonies will overthrow us. Or throw us out. Not necessarily an overthrow, but but yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. Uh, these battles, super important in American history, so they should never be forgotten and really should be studied. They're not necessarily studied in as great of detail as they really could. But like I said, that's gonna do it for this video. If you guys like the video, leave a like. If you have ways I can improve these videos, leave a comment down below. It helps out as always. And as always, subscribe. It really does help out the channel. Thank you.